Have you ever heard something like this? I heard Koreans eat dog meat in the summer. In Korea, people cook dogs to boost their health during hot weather. If it's your first time hearing this, it might sound shocking. Wait, could that be true? Do Koreans really eat dog meat during Boknal, the hottest days of summer? Well, this statement is half true and half misunderstood. Back in 2002, when the World Cup brought global attention to Korea, a British broadcaster reported, Koreans eat dog meat 3 times a day. Then in 2007, another foreign media outlet claimed, every summer, Koreans celebrate by eating 100,000 tons of dog meat. Many foreigners were shocked by these reports, and many Koreans were baffled. I don't know where they got that from. But no one in my family eats dog meat. That was a common reaction. But if you think about it, it's not hard to see how such misunderstandings began. The unfamiliar term, Boknal, the concept of boyongsik, food to restore energy in the heat, and the image of people sweating over hot bowls of soup in the middle of summer. To foreign eyes, it all seems unfamiliar. And sometimes, those unfamiliar scenes are misinterpreted or distorted. That's why this video exists, to clear up the confusion. What exactly is Boknal? Why does it exist? And what do Koreans actually eat on those days? We'll guide you through the true landscape of Boknal, so you can understand and fully enjoy Korean summer the right way. When you first hear the word Boknal, it's not easy to guess what it means. But within this single word lies the essence of Korea's nature, history, and the daily lives of its people. Boknal refers to 3 specific days during the peak of summer: Chobok, first day of Boknal, Jungbok, second day of Boknal, and Melbok, last day of Boknal. These usually fall between mid-July and mid-August on the solar calendar. Now, the character Bok in Chinese means to lie down or to submit. But why submit? This traces back to the ancient Eastern philosophy of yin-yang and the 5 elements. Summer is associated with the energy of fire, while autumn is linked to metal. Even as autumn approaches, the summer heat is still too strong. So the metal energy of autumn submits or lies low before the fire. This is why these scorching days are called Sambok, literally, 3 submissions. In short, Sambok marks the time when the summer heat is so overwhelming, even nature surrenders 3 times. The custom of Sambok actually originated in ancient China. According to records of the grand historian Shiji from the Qin dynasty in the 4th century BCE, on the day of Chobok, people would sacrifice a dog inside the city walls to ward off harmful pests. But here's the key point. It wasn't about eating dog meat, it was a ritual offering. Later, this tradition spread to the Korean peninsula. By the time of the 3 Kingdoms period, it had taken root as a cultural custom. And during the Joseon dynasty, it evolved into a clear seasonal tradition. Especially in the late Joseon period, Boknal became a time to eat nourishing foods, avoid the heat, and protect one's health. In other words, Boknal wasn't just a hot day, it was a wise survival strategy developed by Koreans to get through the intense summer. So, what did people in the past actually eat during Boknal? Today, Samgyetang ginseng chicken soup is the most iconic dish associated with Boknal in Korea. But during the Joseon dynasty, the foods eaten on these days were more diverse, and they varied depending on one's social class. In the royal court, yukgajang was a favorite. This spicy beef soup, made by simmering shredded beef with red pepper powder and assorted seasonings, was seen as a symbol of nourishment. It was believed to stimulate appetite and promote sweating, helping the body release toxins. For commoners, siwonhada mudfish soup was more common. It was made by boiling mudfish, mashing them, and simmering the broth with perilla powder, dried radish greens, and garlic chives. The result was a hearty, nutritious soup that was both affordable and revitalizing, perfect for fighting summer fatigue. What's particularly interesting is that these Boknal dishes weren't uniform across the country. Depending on the region, family status, and local traditions, the meals served during Boknal could look entirely different. In other words, there was no single, standard food for Boknal. People used whatever ingredients were most nourishing and accessible in their region. expressing their cultural wisdom through food to survive the summer. That's why the idea that all Koreans eat the same food on Boknal has never been true. And dog meat was only consumed in limited areas, by certain groups, and never as a national norm. Let's take a step back and look at it historically. Records show that dog meat was consumed in Korea as far back as the Three Kingdoms period. It was sometimes chosen as a form of boyongsik food, meant to replenish the body during summer heat, but only in specific regions and among certain social groups. Even during the Joseon dynasty, dog meat was never a mainstream food. At the time, strict rules limited the slaughter of cattle and pigs. Because dogs were easier to butcher, some working-class people would occasionally eat them for strength. But this was far from a widespread practice. And here's a key fact. In the royal court records or noble family documents from the Joseon era, there is no mention of dog meat being eaten during Boknal. So why do so many foreigners equate Boknal with dog meat? As mentioned earlier, it all began with the 2002 Korea-Japan World Cup. With global attention focused on Korea, international media started covering Korean culture. At that time, the BBC in the UK aired a segment claiming, "Koreans eat dog meat 3 times a day." And The Independent reported Malbok is a festival day when Koreans feast on dog meat. These claims were not only false, they outraged many Koreans. No one in my family has ever eaten dog meat. On Boknal, we eat Samgyetang, not dogs. So what about now? In the past 20 years, the consumption of dog meat in Korea has dramatically declined. In 2002, it was estimated that about 3 million dogs were consumed annually. By 2022, that number had dropped to under 400,000, and among younger generations, the practice is nearly non-existent. One survey showed that 59% of Koreans under 30 have never eaten dog meat, and 29% see dogs strictly as companion animals. Moreover, under Korea's current Livestock Products Sanitary Control Act, dogs are no longer classified as livestock, meaning the distribution and slaughter of dog meat is, in effect, illegal. Today, dog meat is considered a fading remnant of the past. While Samgyetang restaurants are packed on Boknal, it's increasingly rare to find places that serve dog meat at all. So now, when a foreigner says, "Don't Koreans eat dog meat on Boknal?" we can smile and say, that's an old story from a few specific regions. These days, we all eat Samgyetang. Actually, fried chicken is super popular now, too. As we've seen, the most iconic food associated with Boknal today is, without a doubt, Samgyetang, a whole young chicken stuffed with ginseng, glutinous rice, jujube, and garlic, slowly simmered to create a nourishing, comforting soup, with its rich flavor, high nutritional value, and deep cultural symbolism. Samgyetang has long been a national favorite, especially among middle-aged and older generations, and now, even the younger crowd enjoys it regularly. But here's a fun twist. The most sold chicken dish during Boknal these days might actually be fried chicken. As long as it's chicken, who says it has to be soup? That's the playful take of many young people, and as Chobuk, Jungbuk, and Malbuk roll around, fried chicken sales soar. While Samgyetang remains the traditional symbol of Boknal, its meaning has clearly expanded in modern times. What truly matters isn't what you eat, but the act of caring for each other's health and enduring the summer heat together. In recent years, the variety of foods eaten on Boknal has grown significantly. People now enjoy dishes like grilled eel or abalone porridge, and there's rising demand for vegetarian-friendly options as well. Among health-conscious young Korean generations, meals made with tofu or soy instead of meat have become increasingly popular. At the heart of this change is a simple truth. It's not the food, but the intention that matters most. Here's something many people, especially foreigners, find puzzling. Why do Koreans eat hot, steaming dishes like Samgyetang during the peak of summer, instead of cold foods like naengmyeon, cold noodles, or ice cream? And why, after eating hot soup, do they say it feels cooling? The answer lies in a practical and time-tested philosophy: treating heat with heat. At first, this idea might sound illogical. but it's grounded in centuries of lived wisdom and experience passed down from Korean ancestors. In the summer, eating too many cold foods might feel refreshing for a moment, but it can chill your digestive system, weaken your metabolism, and lead to fatigue and lowered immunity. In contrast, when you eat a hot soup like Samgyetang, it raises your body temperature temporarily, causing you to sweat. As the sweat evaporates, your body cools down naturally, leaving you feeling refreshed and cleansed from the inside out. That's why Koreans say siwonhada, which literally means cool or refreshing after finishing a hot meal. But this isn't the same cool you say after a cold soda. It's a deeper, more satisfying kind of relief, like your body just hit the reset button. And there's more than just tradition behind this. Samgyetang is scientifically nutritious. Chicken provides high-quality protein. Ginseng contains saponins that fight fatigue. Garlic has allicin, boosting immunity. Jujube Korean dates offers antioxidants that improve circulation. Plus, simmering everything into a broth helps extract and preserve the nutrients, making it one of the most efficient ways to nourish the body during the hot season. Korea isn't the only country with seasonal traditions focused on health like Boknal. Take Japan, for example. They have a tradition called Doyo no Wushi no Hi, a custom that dates back to the Edo period, where people eat grilled eel to regain stamina during the hottest days of summer. It's quite similar to Korea's own love for eel as a summer energy food. What about the Middle East? In regions where daytime temperatures soar above 40 degrees Celsius, people often drink hot tea, even in the heat. Spiced teas made with peppermint or ginger help regulate core body temperature, inducing sweat and allowing the body to release internal heat, a different form of cooling down. In India and Thailand, people turn to spicy foods to fight the summer heat. Piping hot curries, soups full of chili peppers. It's another interpretation of treating heat with heat. You sweat, your body releases tension, and afterward, you feel surprisingly refreshed and light. On the flip side, countries like Spain and Italy prefer a cold food approach. Spain's gazpacho, a chilled tomato and vegetable soup, is a classic example. A bowl of cold soup in the shade. That's their version of summer wisdom. In the end, every culture has crafted its own way of enduring the heat, nourishing both body and spirit in the process. When Boknal comes around, Koreans often say, "It's chobok today. Time to take care of ourselves. It's hot, but we've got to eat this to survive the summer." Once you sweat it out, you feel truly refreshed. In those simple words lies a deep will to endure the heat, and a warm desire to care for loved ones, family, friends, and even strangers. No matter what the dish is, and whether the scene is traditional or modern, at the heart of Boknal is a spirit of kindness and thoughtfulness toward others. So, when foreign friends ask, "Don't Koreans all eat dog meat on Boknal?" we can now respond with a smile. No, that's a long-standing misunderstanding. These days, people enjoy samgyetang, abalone porridge, grilled eel, fried chicken. Even vegetarian options are popular now. What really matters isn't what you eat, it's who you eat with, and the care you share around that meal. If you ever visit Korea during Boknal, you might find yourself discovering an entire philosophy in a single bowl of soup. As the broth bubbles, sweat gathers gently on your forehead, and you take your first spoonful, you'll find yourself saying, "Wow, siwonhada." And in that one word, cool, refreshing lies not just a reversal of temperature, but the very soul of Korean summer. Because overcoming the heat isn't just about hot soup, it's about warm hearts, shared care, and human connection. No matter where you're from, no matter what language you speak, in front of a bowl of samgyetang you'll feel it. We are all human, and we're in this summer together.